everybody and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all well. For today's video, I thought I would review a eyeshadow palette which I have been dying to get my hands on for absolutely ages, and I know a lot of you will be feeling the same way, so I thought I would review it for you, and that is, if you haven't already guessed by the title, is the Huda Beauty Rose Gold Edition eyeshadow palette. So there has been quite a lot of stigma behind this eyeshadow palette, so I'm just going to give you my complete honest opinion, and yeah, I'll just tell you what I think about it. So I have been using it for the last few days just so I could get a good feel for it, because I'd heard quite a few negative things about it, and like when I was like kind of looking from my point of view at the eyeshadow palette, once I had it, I could kind of see what people may have been talking about, so I wanted to use it for a few days just to kind of get like a hang of using it, and kind of see if I can work past these things which people keep bringing up. So anyway, before I get into those points, this is what the eyeshadow palette looks like. I'll lift the thing up so you can actually see without any reflection. So this is what it looks like. It is like my first impression when I first saw this online. I was like, I have to have this. Like, it's so beautiful. Like, oh my god, it's so gorgeous. So what really drew me to really wanting to buy this one is the fact that I have been trying to get my hands on the Anastasia Beverly Hills Renaissance palette for ages, and I just haven't been able to get it. It's just been completely sold out. So when I saw this one, I felt like it was quite similar. Obviously I don't have the modern Renaissance palette, so I can't really compare, but to me it kind of had like a similar kind of colouring, like, what do you call it, like the shadows were just similar. So that's what drew me to this one. But then, like, now I have it in my hand, I think it's like actually a much better palette for me personally as to what I'm looking for in eyeshadows, because I tend to wear quite a lot of like high shine, very shimmery, like I like things to be very like pooh and like out there, and obviously the modern Renaissance palette was a little bit more of just kind of like your basic kind of textures, whereas this has the these amazing 3D metal eyeshadows which are like textured and shiny and just amazing. So as you can see, the theme of this palette is kind of warm, pinky shades. Like, if you like warm eyeshadows with a pop of colour, which are very kind of out there, very shiny, you will love this palette, and I would definitely recommend getting it because it is exactly that, like all in one. So the first thing which I noticed when I opened the eyeshadow palette is that the eyeshadows consist of 3 different textures. So they have these very high shine 3D metal eyeshadows at the top and the one down here, and then they have a lot of mattes which are these shades here, and then they have these 2 kind of basic shimmers which are these 2 shades here. So what I liked about that is there was so much kind of variety in texture, because if you're like me, then you like things like, you like to make things up a bit, like you don't want to use the same sort of textures all the time. So these 2 shades here, which to me are a shimmery kind of texture, are Angelic and Moondust. Angelic is kind of like a pinky pearlized shade with a little bit of gold in it, and then Moondust is a very kind of classic, what I would personally use is kind of like a highlight on my cheeks or on my brow bone kind of shade, kind of like, oh, what's the name of it? Oh my god, what's the name? Kind of like Mary Luminizer by The Balm, like kind of. It's got a little bit more of a pearlized finish to it, this one has, than like The Balm's doesn't have that, but it's kind of along those lines. So these are, to me, really highly pigmented, really shimmery. I don't even know if shimmery is the right word, but they're like very like shiny without having glitter in, if that makes sense. Like, they're really smooth, they're really buttery, high pigment, they look gorgeous. Like, these are just like really gorgeous staple kind of shimmery colours, and like, you can't go wrong with these. Like, for me, these are like everyday colours which I will use like non-stop. The mattes, so these shades here are all matte. Now I want to talk about these a little bit, because I think I've heard a couple of people talk about the palette in maybe a negative light, and I think it might be because of these matte shades. Basically, they when you first touch them, and I did notice this, when you first touch them, my immediate thought was like, oh, they're quite gritty. It's like, it's really hot, like they're very finely gritty. To me, that's how they felt. They also felt quite kind of chalky in texture. And yeah, so that was the first thing I noticed about the mattes. So my initial feeling was like, these don't feel how I expected them to feel. But as I got to use them, I actually realised that like, that's kind of how they're meant to be, if that makes sense. Like, that texture makes them really, really easy to work with, which I absolutely love. They also you'll notice, like, as you start dipping your brush into the shadows, it's got quite a lot of excess powder like puffing up. If you like, that to me really doesn't bother me, because a lot of the time when I'm putting eyeshadow on, I put my foundation on last, so fallout really doesn't bother me that much. It might bother you a little bit obviously if you tend to do your foundation then use eyeshadows over the top, because the mattes do have that little bit of fallout. So that was really the thing about the mattes which I noticed initially, and I was kind of a bit like, I wasn't expecting them to be like that. But as you start to work with them, they are so easy to work with, and like these, like the colours are absolutely stunning. Like one of my favourites is this one, which I use in this video. Like after I've done this little talky bit, I'll do I'll show you how to get the eye look, which I've done. This Shy colour is absolutely stunning. Like it looks really muted in the pan, but when you start putting it on the eye, it's like so pigmented. So I think what I'm trying to say is, don't let the initial texture of the mattes put you off, because they are really, really nice mattes, and once you get used to the texture, I think the texture throws people off because it's not what they're used to, or not what they're used to seeing mattes feel this way. But once you've got past that, they're just, to me, I think they're really like innovative. Like they're quite, it's very something that's very new and not been done before, and I really, really like that. And I think that once you get used to using them, you will really, really love them as well. The colours are flipping phenomenal. I love this one for a crease colour. I love this one, or like this one for me, like all over my lid before I start my eyeshadow, is gorgeous. This bright pink is so gorgeous. The Shy is like really unique, beautiful. Cocoa, just a gorgeous staple warm matte brown. I use that all the time. The black is like super pigmented. Bossy, again, a really nice kind of dark purpley pink, and I haven't used this one yet, but I know I will love it because it's the type of shade I use all the time. And yeah, like to me, they're just gorgeous. So I'll swatch a couple of them. Which one shall I swatch? I'll do the pink, this pink, I'll do Bossy, and I'll do black. So you can see just how pigmented they are. Like, they're gorgeous. What I will say that I've just noticed, like, I just swatched these, the black is a lot more kind of suede-er feeling than the others. You know, when I said that they have like quite a gritty texture. Like I don't like saying gritty, but I can't explain it any better. But the black, as I've just swatched it, I've noticed it has a lot more kind of cushion and like more of a suede feeling to it, which, I mean, I love them despite anything. They work amazingly, so you can't really like fault them at all in that way. So as well as those two shimmers and all those mattes, there are 6 of these 3D metal shades, and I live for all 6 of these shades. They are absolutely amazing. Like, to be honest, like, I couldn't have made an eyeshadow palette that was more perfect for me if I tried, because the fact that they have these like 3D metals to me just like speaks to me on like a spiritual level. Like, I love it. So these are like, if I was to compare these 3D metals to anything, I would say they're very, very similar to the to the Revolution metallic eye foil things, except they're a little bit more kind of, not wet, but they're kind of a little bit more like bitty. Like, I find that these go on a lot like smoother and have a much nicer finish than those do. So the way I like to apply these ones is basically just like to, very similar to how I've done it today, is how I've been using them, is kind of doing like a basic kind of smoky eye and then popping a little bit of the 3D Metals eyeshadow in the middle to give my eye that kind of shimmery like, oh, so like when you take a picture it looks like really bright and shiny, and like when you close your eyes you can just see that little bit of a sparkle. Like, I love that look. Like, to me that is like, if I could wear that every day I would, and now I probably will. So a couple of my favourites, I mean they're all my favourite, but I really like Trust Fund. Is gorgeous because it's like that very autumnal kind of autumn copper colour, and I'll swatch that one for you. And then I also love this 24K, which is like a very, very true gold. And I also flippin' love this red one here, which is called Fling. So this, again, look how flippin' shiny they are. They're so gorgeous. They're so gorgeous. Oh my god, I flipping love them. Now, the one thing I will say about these ones, sorry, I'm just like wiping my hand on a baby wipe to make sure I don't get these everywhere. The one thing I will say about these 3D metals is there's definitely a technique to applying them. So the best way I have found to apply these metal eyeshadows is actually to press, instead of like going straight in, rubbing my finger in and rubbing it on my eye. That just will not do it justice at all. What you really want to do is press your finger down into the pan and like rub the product onto your finger, and then as you put it onto your eye, you want to kind of press it and like wipe it onto your eye. You don't want to use a brush, you don't want to go back and forth with your finger, like that's just not how the product works. You really need to, like, as you kind of smear it, I know, sorry, it's a horrible word, but as you kind of like smear it across your lid, it'll like create this beautiful foiledness across the eye, and it is stunning. And once you've got that technique down, you will just love it because it's so shiny and bright and just like amazing. So in terms of price, this is definitely like a high-end makeup product. To me, I think that it is expensive, but at the same time it's quite fairly priced because of all the different products which you're getting in one palette. So I bought mine for £56 off Cult Beauty, and initially when I saw that it was £56, I was kind of like, oh, I was expecting it to be more like £40–45. But then once I received the product and you see like how much you're getting, like I would buy like individual like shiny little metallic eyeshadows for like probably £10 each to get the look that I want. And the fact that you get 6 plus a whole load of mattes and those 2 shimmers as well in one palette, like to me it's really great value for money. And like you could just take this eyeshadow palette with you, like if you were going away or like go into someone's house to get ready for a night out or something. You wouldn't have to take any other eyeshadows with you, you could just take this, which I think is like really quite unique if you're wanting to get like a very dramatic kind of going out eye look. Like I would tend to take multiple products because I'd want to have all like the glitter and the shimmer and stuff, but with this you just get it all in one. So like on review of the palette, actually I think the price is quite fair, and if this is like your sort of thing, I would definitely recommend it, and I think it would definitely be worth trying. I absolutely love it, and I am so excited at the idea of like any others that Huda Beauty are going to be coming out with, because I know that they will just be equally as amazing. So that is the end of the review section of this part of the video. So the next clip you're going to see is me showing you how to create this eye look that I did using the palette. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy. So for today's kind of review and makeup look of the Huda Beauty palette, I really wanted to do something that was like very pink and just a little bit outside of my comfort zone. So that is exactly what I'm going to do for you now. So to start off this makeup look, I'm first going to take this shade here, and this is called Bay, and this is just like a gorgeous matte cream with a slightly yellow undertone to it. So what I'm going to do is first just take that all over my lid, but first I'm going to prime, and the primer I'm using is my favourite one, and that is Painterly Paint Pot by MAC. So before I do flipping anything, so now I'm just taking that creamy yellow shade called Bay, and I'm just popping that all over my lid, and this is just gonna set the primer in place so that it doesn't crease. This is also gonna act as like a really good base to blend all the rest of our eyeshadows into. Like for me, this shade is very much like my skin shade, although not a yellow undertone, but it's kind of like a nice just basic creamy lid shade that's gonna act as like just the perfect thing to blend darker eyeshadows into, basically. So the second shade I'm going to be taking is this one, and this is like so pretty. This is called Shy, and this is kind of like a muted mauve kind of purpley pink colour. It's completely matte and it is absolutely gorgeous. And I love how this colour comes out. I did use this yesterday as well. Just to kind of get an idea of how it's going to come out, because it looks like quite muted in the pan. I really wasn't expecting the colour payoff to be that great, but as you can see, it's actually got really, it's actually quite a bright mauvey shade, and to me it actually comes out more pink. I don't know whether that's just my skin tone, but once I start blending it out, it comes out like a bright baby pink, which I think is really, really pretty. So the next shade I'm going to be using is this beautiful bright pink, and this is called Flamingo. And I'm just going to take a little bit of a narrower brush, and I'm just going to be popping that directly into the crease, because this is quite bright again. And I'm kind of just putting it right in the crease and gradually blending it up into that Shy shade. God, this is like a real like Barbie pink to me. It's so cute. Then just to deepen up the crease a little bit, I'm going to be taking this shade here, which looks like a red when you first look at it, but it's actually like quite a dark red with a lot of pink in it. And this is the shade Manita, and again, this is a matte. So I'm going to be taking that like literally just in the crease area, just to kind of deepen it up a little bit and add a little bit more dimension to the look. And I'm doing it quite softly. So I am actually just going to pop that all over my lid, because I think that's actually a really pretty colour to like gradually draw out the rest of the eyeshadows too. Now for the next bit, I'm just going to take the shade Bossy, which is kind of like a dark purpley pink. And again, I'm just going to take a tiny bit and pop that just in my outer corner, just to make it a little bit more sultry. Again, this is such a pretty colour. Like, although these ones which I've used so far like complement each other so nicely, because they all have that very like dark pink undertone to them, or like bright pink. And I just want that to be really subtle, so like as you close your eyes you just see a little bit more deepness in the crease to make our eyes look a little bit more sunken in. So I am just going to take this shade here, which is 24K, and this is like very much like a true gold. It kind of reminds me of Half Baked from the Urban Decay Naked 2 palette. And it is one of the textured foiled shadow type things, so you have to be quite nifty when you apply it. So I kind of just like rub my, I'll show you. I kind of just like rub my finger into it, pressing it down like that, and then I have a little bit on my finger here, and then I will just dab it onto the area where I want it. So I'm just popping this onto our lid. So to highlight the brow bone, I'm just going to be taking this shimmery colour here, and this is the shade Moon Dust. And this isn't quite the same as the, where's my brush gone? As the foiled textured shadows. This is more of like a shimmery eyeshadow. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that. Oh, that's so pretty. Onto my brow bone. I feel like flipping Jasmine from Aladdin with this on. I don't know why. I'm then just going to take a little bit of black liquid liner and just line my upper lash line, and I'm just going to be using the Schwing liner by The Balm, because this is one of my favourites. And I'm just going to do a really, really thin line, I hope. I'm then just adding a little bit of mascara, and I am using the Collection Super Size Fat Lash Mascara just to blacken them out before we put lashes on. So I have just gone away and finished the rest of my face makeup, and now it is time to do the lower lash line. So pretty much for the lower lash line, I'm going to do exactly what I did on my upper lash line, but repeat that on my lower lash line. So I'm first going to go in with that shade Shy, and then I'm going to go over the top with the Flamingo shade, and then I'm going to go in with Bossy on the kind of outer portion. So first I'm taking Shy, and I'm bringing this quite low down because this is the shade we're going to use to blend the rest of the darker shades into. So this is really going to be the shade that's key to making the lower lash line look really, really smoky and kind of well blended. So I'm being quite generous with it. Connecting it up to my upper eyeshadow on my upper lid. And then I'm just taking the shade Bossy and pressing that right underneath my lash line. Just on the outer portion. So this is the finished eye look. I hope you like it. I flippin' love it. I just love, like, for me, I feel like Jasmine from Aladdin with the pink and gold. I think it just looks so flippin' pretty. So that is the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed this one. I had so much fun like doing this look. Like, this is so different for me, so I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. As always, if you did enjoy this video, please don't forget to give me a massive thumbs up and subscribe down below. And if there is anything at all that you want to see on this channel, just leave me a comment down below and I'll try and get it done for you. So yeah, thank you again for clicking on this video, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye!